Hello, and welcome to the 2023-2024 season recap for my FC24 Kit Quest Manager Career mode. So as I we're kind of just going to go through what happened this season, kind of where we finished, how we did in the various cup competitions, transfers, owner objectives, all that good stuff. So kind of starting off with the owner objectives. Youth development, short-term one we were able to complete, sign the 4 youth players to the academy in each kind of area of the pitch. The long-term goal, as I said earlier, not going to complete. Brand exposure, the short-term one was to get 7 games without defeat in home matches this season. I guess that meant in total, not like in a row, I'm assuming, because we got 15 out of 7. I don't think those 15 were in a row. The long-term one is to sign 4 of the best players in the world. We haven't signed any yet, but we have a couple of seasons to go for that one, so we should be okay. Financial. Short-term goal was within the same season sign 3 crucial players and make a profit of £127.5 million. As you can see, we made well more than that with a profit of about 400 million pounds. We didn't sign any crucial players, which we'll kind of get into in the transfer business. And then the domestic success was like where we wanted to finish in the league, which I think was like top 4, and then the FA Cup was to win the FA Cup. But we'll be able to go over those during the standings check. So let's pop over to standings. Let's move this on top. As you can see here, we did complete the board objective to finish a Champions League spot. We finished 3rd in the Premier League with 84 points, which is a pretty impressive showing in this first season. As you can see here, almost 20 points ahead of the team that finished 4th in West Ham. So you can see the Premier League title went to Manchester City with a total of 92 points, which was honestly kind of surprising because for the vast majority of the season, Liverpool were like far and away the leaders in the title race. And there was even a point where City and I were and Spurs were pretty close in second and third, and we had a match against City and then lost, which kind of separated them from us. And I guess they kind of went on from there and overtook Liverpool and ended up winning the title kind of comfortably with the 5-point gap between them and Liverpool in second. As you can see, West Ham, then, as I kind of said, finished 4th. The other Champions League spot, Man United finished 5th, so they get Europa League football in the same amount of points. So their poor goal differential kind of really set them back here. As you kind of see, we had a really good goal differential of 50, which was actually one better than the champions in Manchester City. We had the second most, we were kind of second best in both goals for and goals against, but difference between the two is good enough for the best goal difference in the league at 50. Kind of going down through the table and kind of see the results here. Just kind of curious because I honestly don't know who got relegated. So let's go down here. It looks like it was Brentford, Sheffield United, and Luton. So pretty similar to what happened in the actual 2023-24 season, where the 3 promoted clubs, Sheffield United, Luton, and Burnley, all got sent back down the same season. But instead, Brentford that's brutal, on 1 goal difference. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure goal difference is the first tiebreaker. If it's not, then that wasn't as close, but still 1 goal differential between Brentford and Crystal Palace, which is pretty surprising, but Brentford gets set down. Kind of looking at the cup competition, start with the Carabao Cup because that kind of finishes first of the season. Looks like the winner of the Carabao Cup was Aston Villa, 3-2 win over Chelsea, which means I'm pretty sure they get Conference League football next season in this career mode. We want to find out where we got bounced. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, it was round 3. Like it was in. Actually, I think in real life it might have been round 3 as well for Spurs in real life. In real life, they got bounced out to Fulham the first round. Their first round they played in the Carabao Cup. Here we got matched up against Southampton, which I thought was a pretty favorable matchup, considering they're a championship side. So I kind of put out a pretty rotated side with all the kind of backup players in every position starting the match, and it was finished 1-1. Let me go into my little spreadsheet here and see who scored for us. It was Timo Werner starting on the left wing. He scored our goal, but went to a penalty shootout, which, as you can see, Southampton won 4-2, unfortunately, which is kind of which honestly is a pretty similar result to what happened in real life, because I'm pretty sure it was a 1-1 draw against Fulham, and then went to pens, and Fraser Foster was absolutely terrible the penalty shootout, like he barely moved from the center of the goal, and Spurs lost some pens in that, so he got bounced there. Going to the FA Cup again, kind of. Let's see, the winner of that was Arsenal over Liverpool, so that means Arsenal, pretty sure, then also get Europa League football next season, so they'll be in the Europa League with Manchester United. Going to where we got bounced, I'm pretty sure it was round 4, but we'll check round 3 first, because that's where we started. Unless it wasn't. Oh, it's round 3 replay. Oopsies. Round 3, where's Tottenham? Tottenham. Oh, there we go. Last page. Yeah, we got a really good favorable matchup against kind of very close in proximity club to Spurs, Leyton Orient in London. We won the match 3-0. Checking here, as that was a match Spurs won in real life against Burnley, 1-0, their first FA Cup tie. I played that match, and we got put out a pretty rotated side. The goal scorers were Beto, Beto was in a part of the Spurs squad. We'll get into that when I kind of go into transfer business and whatnot. Rodrigo Bentancur and Destiny Dogi who converted a penalty kick for us. And Brennan Johnson 2 assists, which earned him a Man of the Match award for that match. Moving on to round 4. There we are. Much kind of like in real life, we got matched up against a pretty tough Premier League side in Aston Villa in round 4 of the FA Cup. It was a simulated match. As you see, we lost 3-0. So we got bounced in the 4th round of the FA Cup. So this season, as you kind of tell, we ended trophyless once again. So this is going to be going definitely at least one more season, as it kind of was no matter what. So we had no Europe this year, but hopefully next season it will potentially be tough trying to balance Champions League football and all the competitions. But hopefully next season we can at least get one trophy and make some progress to kind of successfully completing this Jersey Quest career mode. Now let's kind of, oopsies, backed out. I'll just change competition. Let's kind of check some of the other competitions. Super Cup would have been what? City and Sevilla. Looks like Sevilla won 9-8 on penalties. Holy crap. Looks like Sevilla won the Super Cup at the beginning of the season. 9-8 on pens after a 2-2 draw. Check the Champions League. PSG actually won the Champions League. They beat Man City 2-0. That's pretty good for them, I suppose. Let's look at the Europa League. Liverpool actually won that. Like everyone kind of expected them to IRL, but they got bounced by Olympiacos. Pretty surprising fact. Oh, that's the Conference League. They got bounced by, who did they get bounced by? Oh, Atalanta. Atalanta, who ended up actually winning the competition in real life. But here they beat Sporting 3-1 in the final. Go in the Conference League. Club Brugge beat Besiktas. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's a Turkish club, I'm pretty sure. 2-0 in the final of that. And then the Euros, I guess it has up here, which kind of is going to be like the real Euros because of the very limited number of actual national team sides that are like in the general game outside of the like actual Euros mode which has all the actual teams in it. But I'm not managing any national team sides in this so far, so this doesn't really matter at all, but we'll see who wins that, I guess, next season. In terms of, let's look at the squad, kind of go to the squad hub, look at some of the stats, see who our top goal scorer was and whatnot. Looks like our top goal scorer in all competitions was Son, 17 goals, all in the Premier League. All these holes are all pretty much going to be Premier League because we got bounced pretty early in the cup competitions. Beto, who was actually Richarlison's backup, but did take over the starting role for Portugal season, which I'll kind of get into second. He scored 16 goals in all competitions. James Maddison, really impressive season, 14 goals, 12 assists. And then it kind of looks like a bunch of kind of like handfuls of goals for everyone else. Here's Destiny Doki, the player of focus for this. He had 4 goals, 5 assists, with the 1 goal in the FA Cup being the penalty, which I kind of spoke about earlier. So we had a pretty decent, as kind of see, offensive season with pretty much every player on the roster, I think, except Ben Davies and Dragusin, kind of chipping in with more than that, I guess, but most of the roster pretty much chipped in with a goal or an assist. The only ones who didn't really like were defenders or backup players who didn't really play a lot. Okay, looking at clean sheets here. Looks like in the Premier we had 15 clean sheets, which is pretty good. Which I'm pretty sure Vicario ended up winning the Golden Glove in this season for the career mode with 15 clean sheets in the Premier League, which is pretty good. Kind of looking at the squad here, we can kind of go through some of the transfer business I did, which I actually wrote all this down like a piece of paper, so I kind of just go through all our transfers kind of in order as they happened. First transfer was kind of extending Brandon Austin's contract for 2 years and upping his wages to 8K a week. So kind of see here his contract does expire for 2 more seasons, and his wages are up from where they were at the start. The next thing was because the squad didn't really have like a second enough players kind of in it, and one who fit the role of backup striker for Charleston. I ended up, as kind of who's been mentioned before, brought in Beto from Everton, brought him in for 16.798 million pounds, which is like his market value on transfer market. So that's kind of what I offered Everton. They were accepted it, and we signed to a 4-year contract with 70K a week wages. And as you kind of see, he really took to the ground running, scoring 15 goals in the Premier League. A lot of those came in a run where, let me look it up in my little spreadsheet here. Yeah, in the second match of Premier League season against Man United, Richarlison picked up a shoulder injury, was out for 2 months. So then Beto kind of stepped in and became our starting striker. And he went on a really hot streak during that kind of time. Richarlison was out with injury, scoring a bunch bags of goals. Looks like 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 10. 10 of his 15 goals kind of came in that 2 month period when Richarlison was out injured. After Richarlison kind of came back, he took over the starting role again. Beto was able to chip in a handful of goals in that period afterwards, so he's a pretty good signing, I'd say. Even though in real life he wasn't the best player for Everton this past season. In the game, he's kind of OP because he's so tall. Corners in the box, especially with Madison having like the play style that like makes the line for the corners like a lot more accurate. Also was like ping corners into Beto during that hot period when I played some of the matches as which were on Spurs won, and he would kind of skate on the end of those corners and smash them in with headers. And our next transfer was, which I'll kind of scroll down to the player that's kind of involved in that. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Here we go. Okay, so the first part of this was kind of Giovanni Lo Celso. He only had 2 years, I think, left in his contract, so it was kind of his time at Spurs is kind of up, because 1 year left his contract salary be lower and all that good stuff. So went and transferred Gio transferred to Inter Milan in the Serie A. I was able to get 24.6 million pounds for him. That kind of his replacement slash Madison's backup. I went for Antonin Barak because let me just double check this correctly. There's it. Where are you at? Ah, here it is. Okay. Yeah, Antonin Barak played for Udinese for a period in Serie A, so that's kind of he fit the kind of theme of this career mode, so I was able to bring him in. He's a center mid cam, center forward, or he's kind of three positions. If he put up his best position is kind of is as a attacking mid, so he kind of worked very nicely as Madison's backup. We brought him in from Fiorentina, I'm pretty sure, in Serie A for 16.7 million pounds, and then signed him to a 3-year, 62,500 pound a week contract. And looking at his stats, he did pretty decently as Madison's backup, chipping in with 5 goals and 3 assists in the Premier League, mostly as a sub, sometimes as a starter if Madison was kind of run down, tired during kind of periods of the season where there's a lot of fixtures in a row. But so that was a pretty good transfer. After that was another our kind of only other sale, just the other kind of player who only had 2 years left of his contract, who in real life uh, looks like, at the time of me recording this, looks like Hotspur is going to go joining Marseille in the French league next season on a transfer from Tottenham. But in the game, I was able to get a move for him to Monaco, which I guess I'm pretty sure is also in the French league. So it's kind of pretty coincidental. But for a lot more that I think almost double what he went for IRL. So I'll get him to Monaco for 26.5 million pounds. Kind of the rest of these our moves were pretty much all loan deals. So I'll kind of go through them quickly now. First one was Loaning out Dane Scarlett to Real Valladolid in the Spanish league. Looks like he did pretty well on loan. The overall bumped up 3 points. Next loan I was able to secure was, let's go, where is he at? Tyrese Hall at KV Mechelen. No idea where that club actually is. He looks like he had a pretty successful loan there. Next up, Alfie Dorrington. Loan him out to CDL Dents, which I'm pretty sure it's. I'm not 100% where that is. Sure where that is, but another kind of good loan for him. Next one was Brandon Austin, back up here, a goalkeeper. Loaned him out to West Brom, lower down the English pyramid. And then after that was Iago Santiago, also down to lower the kind of British football pyramid at Swansea for a year. Next up was Alfie Whiteman for a loan at Venezia in Italy. Well, that's a pretty nice goalkeeper kid, not gonna lie. I like the stripes on it. Next up, these are all kind of summer transfer window moves, just as like kind of heads up. Next one is where'd he go? Here you go, Jamie Donnelly to this club. Not even at MKE Ankaraguchu, where so he had a really successful ones overall, going up 4. Then these next kind of moves were all during the summer. That's the summer, the January transfer window, where kind of as we kind of got bounced from both the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup, really we didn't really have a lot of extra fixtures. So both Brian Heel and Manar Solomon weren't really going to get a ton, if really any, playing time at all. So I was able to kind of, because they both, I think, before then they made like, Solomon made 6 appearances, no kind of goal contributions. Heel made 7 appearances, same thing, no goal contributions. But in the January window, I was able to get them both. Well, move to Lazio. And the last kind of piece of transfer business we did was, where is he? Emerson Royale. I guess he had a release clause in the game, and Arsenal, dirty Arsenal, were gonna trigger it and kind of try to snatch Emerson off of us. And like kind of in the game, what lets you kind of stop that from happening is negotiating a new contract for the player. So I negotiated a wage increase to £50,000 a week after the Arsenal approach. Didn't change like the length of the contract or anything like that. So he probably ended up getting sold anyways, but didn't want to sell him to Arsenal because they're our biggest rival. That was kind of our last kind of piece of transfer business. Kind of the only other thing that's kind of relevant with this season in terms of transfer business and whatnot is that where'd he go? Timo Werner. It's gonna go. Kind of his loan's gonna expire, and he's gonna go back to RB Leipzig. We're not gonna take up the option to buy or anything like that. Kind of because we have players like Hill and Solomon on really long contracts. Still, pretty much looks like Hill's probably gonna be sold, but Manor Solomon still has a really long contract, so he'll kind of be Sonny's backup for the next little bit. But yeah, so Timo Werner's gonna go back. Look at his stats. He was pretty decent for us, mostly as a bench option, kind of starter in the cups and whatnot. With 6 goals and 1 assist this time at Spurs, which is kind of around better. I think he had 5 total goal contributions in his actual kind of initial 6-month loan spell. So that's kind of a better rate than this was, but he didn't really play anywhere near as much in this career mode than he did really in real life in that period. That's kind of in terms of transfer business and whatnot. So I think we've kind of covered. I think pretty much everything we covered. Right, covered the how we did kind of our transfer business stats and whatnot. So next season, hopefully, probably be doing a lot more business in the transfer windows with more people's contracts kind of coming down to that 2-year sweet spot period where you kind of want to move them on for a good profit, or at least a higher, better value than if they had 1 year left in the deal. And hopefully we kind of mold the squad more into the kind of my image here, and hopefully we can scoop up a trophy next season. But yeah, the season was pretty successful, I'd say. In terms of finishing the Champions League, so we have European football again next season, and kind of bring in a couple of initial players to kind of bolster the squad and whatnot. But that's kind of it for now. So if there's anyone watching this, thank you for watching, and hope you kind of watch the next video as well. Thank you.